it feels extra good to say this today. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Waddles. At last, after 8 months of development, Minecraft 1.21, the Tricky Trials update is out now. Over the course of today's extravaganza, we're going to dive in and check out every feature and talk about what it means for Minecraft. Down below, I simply need to know, what is your single most favorite feature in all of Minecraft 1.21? Tell me all about it down below, tap that like button, and let's go. Oh, and channel members, great news. You're looking to get up close and personal with the update, I've got you. There's a world download of this exact world we're using today out right now. Tap that join button and check the community tab for more. So, I'm not gonna lie, I had a real tough time trying to figure out exactly where to start today's video from. But then I smelled a strange, swampy smell. Making our way over to the local swamp biome for this one of the 2 brand new baddies added to Minecraft 1.21 is known as the bogged. The bogged is no bueno, seriously. It's very, very bad. As you can see right there, it's a poison skeleton. Now, the devs kindly, so generously, because this thing is so dangerous, the whole poisoning thing, well, it's actually gonna have a little bit less health than a normal skeleton. Cool thing about the bogged, you can shear it, and it'll actually drop the mushrooms on its head. But the bogged is in more places than just the swamp. You'll be able to find this poison skeleton in some of the trial chambers as well. But more on that later, because I kinda can't believe it, but the day is finally here. And now that it is, it's time to get the old crew back together and jump down into the trial chambers. To make the gang happy and to pull it all off at an affordable price with a 24/7 uptime at Bedrock or Java, Wise hosting is the way to go. Out today, alongside the brand new update, is their brand new, intuitive, easy-to-use game panel that'll allow you to switch quickly between versions with essentially the tap of a button. But it's not only like numbered versions 1.20 to 1.21, it's also vanilla Minecraft to Forge for some kind of modded experience. Wise Hosting's 24/7 uptime also extends to 24/7 support time too. Just the thing you need for those romantic late nights in the chambers. Whether you're Bedrock gang, Java gang, it doesn't matter. Host a server with Wise Hosting and use my link in the description and code Waddles for 25% off your first month. Thank you so much to Wise Hosting for sponsoring this video. Let's get right back to the update. While we're at it, let's take a look at the other bad guy added to Minecraft 1.21. And maybe the boss of the trial chambers, this thing over there, the Breeze. From a distance away, you can tell as soon as it spawns in, oh, it means business. With those diseased yellow eyes and the angry eyebrows, yeah, definitely very, very bad. Now, the Breeze is sort of like the Blaze if you're familiar with other Minecraft mobs. Combat with the Breeze is an entirely unique thing. You see, the Breeze, it doesn't deal up-close melee damage. Instead, it's projectile damage, and that projectile, it actually doesn't really deal very much damage at all. Instead, the real problem here is falling from the wind charge once you get hit by the Breeze. Stop it. I guess a little bit of good news here, the Breeze doesn't have very much health total, at a total of 30 health. However, by default, every Breeze spawner will spawn 2 Breeze total, one at a time. So as soon as you take out your first Breeze, head back in and take out the second one. When you take out the Breeze, you'll be rewarded with a brand new item called the Breeze Rod, and maybe, if you're lucky, something extra special from the trial spawner too. Now, aesthetically, the Breeze Rod, it parallels the Blaze Rod. Functionally, this thing is for one thing, well, 2 things, and 2 things only. Instead of the crafting table by itself, one Breeze Rod will condense down into 4 wind charges. That math is insane. You'll also be able to use the Breeze Rod for something very handy, but stay tuned later for that. Now, it's great news that this Breeze Rod condenses down into so many wind charges because the wind charge is so cool. This thing is essentially what the Breeze was just shooting at us in combat a second ago. However, once I get a hold of it, you know how it goes. Standard Minecraft, you could jump up 1 block, but with the wind charge, you get it just right, and forget about jumping 1 block. Those are the olden days. Even if you get it a little bit wrong, like, you're still gonna jump quite a bit of space. For even more on the wind charge, how to use it perfectly every single time, check out the Breeze Everything to Know video next. Yeah, which, by the way, 1.21 is a wide load of an update. I've got individual guides that go even more in depth on a lot of the features. So check the channel for those anyways. Moving on, the Crafter. Oh, wow, that's a strong mustache. Those eyes as well. The Crafter is a beautiful aesthetic block. It's also a rotational block, which makes it great for building. Inside of it, it's so familiar, but also so strange looking too. On this side, we got the old-fashioned crafting grid. If we tap on a slot, we can disable it. Over here, we've got an arrow, and then we've got a locked slot. I will never be able to take anything out of it. The Crafter is a unique block. It's going to craft things for you automatically and is the first block to use a crafting table in its recipe. Now back over here, if I tap on the slot, it's going to be locked. That's a little bit more useful when I use hoppers and things like it. If I were to put things in here manually, then I will see whatever that thing is if I get the recipe just right, but like I mentioned a second ago, I can't do anything. So go. A redstone, voila, here we've got it. We put a crafter down right there. If I power this, I'm going to begin a redstone circuit. This thing is going to pulse around and listen really quick. It's a brand new sound. You can tell that the crafter is trying to work by that sound, but it's not doing anything, and that's because nothing is inside of it right now. So let's get a little bit more fancy with it, why don't we? We put a hopper up top, and then inside the hopper, I'll load up bamboo. Let's say I wanted to make maybe solid bamboo blocks. For that recipe, I don't need to disable any slots at all. Give it a little bit of time, it'll fill up, and then when it's pulsed with redstone, I don't know if you caught it there, but when this thing has all of the ingredients inside of it for the recipe, and it gets pulsed, well, it'll actually create whatever that recipe is. Even more beautifully, if I were to say put a chest smack dab right in front of it, well, this thing will actually craft things and put it straight into the chest. No additional hoppers required or anything like that. It's kind of beautiful. 1.21 is a big update, like definitely bigger than 1.20, probably bigger than 1.19 as well. However, 1.21 doesn't actually add very many building blocks exactly. Like compared to the two wood sets in the last update, I mean, it kind of pales, but oh boy, the blocks that we're added are absolutely fire, every one of them. The tuff block, it was so lonely, maybe Minecraft's most loneliest block. Well, now, no, it's got a family. It's got a staircase sister, a slab cousin, and a wall as well. The functionality has been taken off of the charts, relatively speaking. Now, just like normal, you can craft all of these block variants inside of the crafting table, but at least when it comes to the staircase, nah, do it inside of the stone cutter for that 1-to-1 ratio. Next up in the expanded and beautiful tuff family, we got Polish tuff. Wow, it's good looking, and it looks so much like polished deep slate, like just a little bit lighter there. To craft the brand new version of tuff, inside of a crafting table, do a little spiral, or inside of a stone cutter, well, baby, just throw it in and select the block and take it out. Also, just like the normal version of tuff, you have a brand new wall, a brand new staircase, and a brand new slab as well. Oh, but what's that? You thought that was the most beautiful tuff block? Oh, you fool, you're mistaken. Tuff bricks, oh my gosh, my eyes water up every single time I see them still. They're so beautiful looking, maybe Minecraft's best looking brick block. Inside of the crafting table, little spiral with the polished stuff, and you get the tuff bricks. Again, alternatively, inside of the stone cutter, just tap on the one that you want. You also get a wall, you get a staircase, and a slab. If you're trying to make a clean brick gradient, maybe stone brick to blackstone brick, tuff is going to fit perfectly in there somewhere, and with those dark lines, I mean, it's kind of like cartoonish looking, but I love it. A couple other beautiful tuff blocks that shall not be slept on. Chiseled the tuff bricks. You take the brick, put it inside of the middle of the block this time, and put a little squiggle on the top and bottom. Over here, an homage to the beautiful breeze. Kinda has the squiggle situation going on, but this time it's breezy. On the top of this block, you'll find the flow design, something we'll definitely see again later on. And on the top of this block, I mean, it kind of looks like a raw ore or something. Almost like a diamond block, right? Ah, yes, copper, the thing that was added way back in Minecraft 1.17, 4 updates ago now, and is solely meant for building. Well, at last, it's actually meant for building. Chiseled copper block. Look at how good this block looks right here. Sliding on over to the subscribe chest, this block, crafting it is very interesting. Cut copper into slabs, and then right there's the recipe. On the other hand, though, if I'm smart, I would do it inside of the stone cutter, because inside of the stone cutter, this is a 1-to-4 recipe. 1 block of copper into 4 chiseled copper. It's a no-brainer. Now, as you would expect, this block comes in its normal version and the wax version, and it also oxidizes pretty smoothly as well. Little build tip for you, if you're using this block, maybe put a button in the middle and you have those like steampunky arrows almost pointing right towards the center. Even more interestingly, though, we have the copper grade. Oh, this block is fascinating. So this block right here, you could sort of think of this block as like the glass of the copper block family. Clearly, right here, we can see right through this block. Copper grade, as you can see here, it hasn't taken out the grass, and I set this up a long time ago. Another beautiful thing about the copper grade is the fact that it is not a mob spawnable block, which means you could have a dark room, or maybe say your nether hub, build the floor out of this, and no mobs will ever spawn. One final thing for today when it comes to this block, you could put water inside the block so you could waterlog it, and it will stay contained inside of it as well. That's useful for machines. The same exact thing as before. Inside of the crafting table, it's 1-to-1. However, inside of the stone cutter, it is 1-to-4. So do it there. Next up, we've got the copper door. Listen to these sounds. Oh, it's beautiful. So every single oxidization level is going to sound exactly the same. You can wax these doors as well. However, only one of these 4 doors is actually craftable. To craft the copper door, the developers listen to us, we rejoice. Instead of using copper blocks like you used to have to, you use copper ingots. But because there are no oxidized ingots, that means you can only craft this door. So if you want the other versions, you need to place the door down and wait for it to oxidize. On the other hand, half of the door, the copper trap door, yeah, that's going to function the same, except same cost, less doors. Yes, that's right, logic. The copper trap door, it's got this whole wheel situation going on. It's so clean looking. You, of course, have the other oxidized versions as well, and yeah, it's nice. You can only craft the unoxidized one, though, which means place it down, give it a little bit of time, and eventually it turns green. The copper bulb, so you've got an oxidized and an unoxidized version, and then within each version, you kind of have 4 states of it as well. Fully off, powered on, and then just plain old unpowered on. That's gonna mean there are kind of like 16 different copper blocks. Wait, no, math, my strong point, yes, 32, sorry. The copper block is such a fascinating one, and check this out, at nighttime it's hard to tell right next to itself, but the block, it gets more dim the more that it oxidizes. That's all gonna amount to the copper bulb actually being a beautiful block for building around your base and decorating, especially if you're trying to set up a build and you just don't want mobs to spawn, but you don't want very much light. Then maybe use one of those two. Now, the copper bulb is similar to the redstone lamp, but it's also different at the same time. So copper bulb, I place it down. By default, it's going to be off. If I power the copper bulb, it will turn on. The red dot means that it's still receiving power, though, because this power source is on. If I turn the power off, the bulb will remain on, but the power goes away. Then, one more time, if I power the copper bulb, now the bulb is powered. You can tell by the redstone dust right back there, but the dot in the middle, but the bulb is off. Go ahead and turn that off, and we're right back to where we started. It's kind of a one block but update detector. The recipe for the bulb, oh boy, you're going to be all over the place. The nether, down low in your world, and copper. Now, every single one of those blocks, or just about every one of those ones, is part of a world generation now, inside of the big structure of a Minecraft 1.21. We checked out the mobs, we've checked out the blocks. Next up, there's only one place that we could go, and that's going to be none other than the trial chambers itself. Inside of every single Minecraft world, from time to time, buried under the ground, it's relatively common, you're going to find a new structure. The structure is called the trial chambers. The trial chambers is a procedurally generated structure with approximately, no joke, 170 or so different pieces, and it might expand in the next update. The thing is actually insane. Inside of the trial chambers, you will actually find no hostile mob spawning at all until you make them spawn. So the structure is like decently safe. The structure is made up of a lot of different components, some of them being chambers, corridors, hallways, intersections. Yeah, there's a lot. So this room that I spawned in over here, it's one of a couple different potential entrance variants. Once we move into the structure a little bit more, we get to something called the atrium. Inside of the atrium, you'll always find a fountain and then some kind of cool wall art displays going on. Now, looking a little farther down the hallway, I need to be careful because I have a mob spawners and actually I have a baby Satan, a mob spawner. I don't want to deal with that. So those things down there inside of the hallway are called trial spawners. We'll talk a little bit more about them in a second, but basically that's where the bad mobs come from inside of this structure. Once I get myself within a couple of blocks of these spawners, that happens, and then it's going to start to spawn mobs, and I don't know, I can take a baby zombie on, no problem, piece of cake, but yeah, just trust me, we'll come back. Carrying on throughout the rest of this structure, more baby zombies, I think. Carrying on throughout the rest of this structure, you have a giant, like, essential maze with parts that go up, parts that go down. And from time to time, from time to time, you'll find rooms with treasure. I missed my jump. Now, zooming out a little bit here to look at the bigger picture, the trial chamber structure is actually quite large. Down there, that room with the potter's node, that's what's called the chamber. Usually, the chambers are the combat arenas. However, the corridors, sometimes, as you can see right there, will be combat arenas as well. The trial chamber structure, like I said, it's got 170 different pieces, which means every single trial chamber is going to be different. Let's say you found a trial chamber that was somehow exactly identical, like the chamber was laid out the same, which definitely won't always happen. Well, also, you've got diversity when it comes to the mobs inside of the chamber as well. You see, we've got 4 categories of mobs inside of the trial chambers. Every single chamber can have the breeze category, and probably will. Then we've got ranged mobs, which are going to be skeleton, stray, or bogged. Every single trial chamber will pick from one category of ranged mobs. So let's say skeleton like we have here. That means no bogged or stray here. Then we've got melee mobs. The melee mobs you could potentially find are the spider, the zombie, or the husk. And then, like we found in this big room a little bit earlier on, you have small melee mobs as well, and those ones are essentially baby Satan. You have cave spider, you've got baby zombie, silverfish, so yeah, that's just great and wonderful, and then slime, which to be honest, maybe isn't that bad. Every single thing inside of this update, just about other than the crafter and the new paintings we'll be taking a look at, relates to the trial chamber in some way. This is the most focused Minecraft update that we have seen in literally years. This is absolutely one of those things that I cannot go into too much depth here, because if I did, this video would be so long. In fact, I made a video going over every room in this chamber, and it was 30 minutes long alone. So yeah, if you want to know more about the trial chambers and all of the details to make it up, check out that one next. Now, before we talk about all of the loot that you could find inside of the trial chamber, let's go ahead and head over to the Art Museum. We need to be quiet in here. This is a nice and quiet, peaceful place. Inside of the Art Museum, we will see 20 of the brand new Minecraft 1.21. Come on, you were so close. One more painting, really?
Come on, lazy.
We got 20 paintings, the first painting since 2012. First off, we've got Baroque. Then we've got Humble. I love this one. Perfect for a villager breeder. Meditative. Prairie Ride. I love that one as well. And Unpacked. That is pack.png. Now, these paintings are all done by Sarah Boving. The rest of the paintings are done by the OG painting creator and Jappa. So Zetterstrand and Jappa work together on a Backyard. That one is called the Nintendo Switch inside of my mind. Bouquet. And a lot of these paintings have like a very ominous, creepy vibe. Like the person sitting right there, I don't know about that. And we've got Cave Bird, which more looks like a cliff tragedy or something like that with gunpowder, I guess. Changing. It's simple and it's beautiful. And by the way, some of these painting sizes are brand new sizes. That's 3x3. I don't think we had any before. Pond. Oh, that's terrifying. I don't know about that, but I'm gonna need to slap that buddy all over the wall. Say with the like standing one from before. Ooh, that's creepy. It's a lady burying somebody inside of a pond. No, thank you. We've got Passage right there. The Passage of Time. Our lemons. It's kind of beautiful, kind of mysterious. That's definitely like a lemur or something, though. Orb, which is such a creepy scene from my childhood of walking around at nighttime. Why did I do that? That was weird. Low Mist. I swear that was on my mantle growing up. Finding, which is very cool. It's kind of like a Roman vibe. Burn, which is so similar to Cave Bird, actually, with the dark circle situation going on. End Boss whips out the Freemason vibe with that checkered floor. Coton, which actually has an accent over the A. I just couldn't find it on the keyboard. Last but not least, we've got Sunflowers, which surprisingly is all about sunflowers. That's beautiful. Just planted one in real life. And then we've got Tides. It's so sad. I like to think of Tides as a continuation. It's a continuation of the sad cliff scene going on right there. Sorry about the museum curator jumping over the bench and all. Yep, that's my bad. All in all, though, I can't complain. Instead of doing like a bunch of blocks for builders, a wood set in this update, they've done paintings, which I think is such a creative way to kind of get at that side of the community. It's beautiful. All in all of these paintings are so stunning. All right, now next up, this next category of items are all going to be things that we can find inside of the trial chamber. Either A, sitting inside of some of those big corridors, or B, some of the loot inside of the chamber. For the pots right here, these sherds, you're going to be able to find these sherds on the pots inside of the large corridors inside of the trial chamber. This one is called Flow. It's kind of like that pattern on the block. This one is called Scrape. And then finally, we've got Guster. One of the coolest names in the entire update, Guster. I love it. Speaking of Guster, you can get the Guster banner pattern from unlocking the plain in normal vault, and the Flow banner pattern from unlocking an ominous vault. Now, these things and a lot of the other cool loot from Minecraft 1.21 is going to be rare. Like, you're not gonna have a huge, insane chance of finding this stuff, so you're gonna have to take your time in the chambers. But how could we? How dare I? I don't even talk about the new chest in Minecraft 1.21, the Vault. The Vault is the brand new chest that you'll be able to find inside of the trial chamber, and it comes in two different forms. You've got the normal vault and the ominous vault. This is done using different block states, which makes me think in the future, we might end up seeing more vaults, like say an end vault, inside of a different structure, using the whole block state stuff. But with the vaults, there's a catch. You can't walk up to them and interact with them and open them. Instead, you're going to need either a normal trial key or an ominous key. Now, these keys, you'll be able to get them as reward for You'll be able to get these keys, essentially win them from taking on the trial chamber challenges. Sometimes these keys will drop out of the decorated pots inside of the main hallway. Sometimes they'll drop out of the trial spawners after you take out the mobs. Sometimes they'll come out of vaults. With a normal key, I could use it on a vault, get an advancement, and unlock the vault. I give it a second and I get a little bit of a loot. Maybe if I'm lucky, I get good loot. If I'm unlucky, I get whatever loot. But that vault, to be honest, was like the less good vault out of the two vaults that you could find. The better vault is called the Ominous Vault with the real deal loot. However, the Ominous Vault, it needs an Ominous Key, and same way the other way around. The Ominous Key is a little bit more rare. We'll talk about how to get it later, but it's basically from the trial spawner. The Ominous Vault. Oh, no flipping way. You can't make this stuff up. The Ominous Vault, I just got the the cream of the crop of Minecraft 1.21 things. All right. The beautiful thing about the vault is the fact that it remembers 20 players. That means I unlock the vault, but if my boy were to hop on the realm over here with me, he could walk over to the vault as well, use that key, and unlock a reward. However, it is not guaranteed to be the same. It pulls from the same loot table, but the loot is kind of randomized. These vaults are strategically located all over the entire trial chamber structure. In this structure, the plain old vaults will always be found on a pedestal that looks something like this. Meanwhile, the ominous vaults will always be found on a pedestal that looks something like that, with the red candles and the red terracotta. Next up, we've got the trial spawner, a brand new type of spawner that you'll be able to find generating inside of the trial chambers and only inside of the trial chambers inside of this update. Now, there's kind of quite a bit to this one. We already talked about how there's different mob categories and whatever. We've also got a couple different block states with this thing. We have the normal version of the trial spawner, where if we use a spawn egg on this trial spawner, you can turn it into any spawner you want. So this is a normal trial spawner. If I cycle it over to ominous, now it gets red eyes and blue flames and blue corners as well. The ominous spawner is a lot more dangerous, but has a better reward. Now keep that ominous stuff in mind because this is kind of advanced and we're going to come back around to it a little bit later on. From the ominous vault, not the spawner, but the vault, you'll be able to get the bolt armor trim, one of the two brand new trims inside of 1.21. This is how you craft it. The bolt armor trim with diamond on every single set of armor, this is what we're looking at when it comes to the aesthetic. It's very, very steampunky. I find that the bolt trim looks really, really good. Like it pops with redstone as the color. I mean, overall, it's a very nice looking trim, and I think it's better than some of the ones in 1.20. Also, once you see it, you can't unsee it. There's a face on the back of it. It's a long, wide smile, some creepypasta stuff. Meanwhile, from the normal vault, you get the trim that I think is the better one, the flow one. This is also the first trim to duplicate, not with the block, but an item instead. The flow trim with a diamond on every single one. Look at those designs, the swerve. That's so cool looking. Looking at the back of this thing, it's like a heart on the helmet. Oh, adorable. My Valentine's so sweet. Yeah, this one is so cool. I think out of the two, this one is more my favorite one. I also just love the color, the icon itself. Like, I'll put that in an item frame all day long and stare at it. It's so nice looking. I can't believe that I got it earlier, but the heavy core, this thing is rare. Inside of an ominous vault on both Minecraft, Bedrock, and Java, a 7.5% chance to get it. That means on average you need to check 13 vaults to find it. I hate to say it, but that's going to send you all over your world. The single standard trial chamber, that does not have 13 ominous vaults inside of it. Usually it's more like a 6 or something. Given the fact that there is so much variation in these things' generation though, you could always have more. Now the heavy core is a brand new rare item that is actually stackable. It's also one of the first things that is only used for crafting, but can also, you could place it down and listen to it. Oh yeah, that sounds heavy for sure. Now if I were to use a pickaxe on this thing, I could break it a little bit quicker than I could break it with my hand. However, I don't know your situation, but maybe you lost a pickaxe, no big deal. You break it with your hand, and after like half of a minute of time, you'll get the item back. Now the heavy core, on its own, it's kind of like you place it down and it's a bit of a trophy. However, inside of the crafting table with the old breeze rod that we talked about way earlier on today, you combine them one and one and you get a brand new weapon. Oh, the mace. Now the mace, this is going to function a little bit differently on Minecraft, Java, and Bedrock due to the inherent baked-in combat differences. So over here, with a couple willing and test subjects, a big stress emphasis on willing here. If I put a villager down and climb up with the mace in hand, jump down, I build up attack damage the more blocks that I fall. I one-shot a villager. That usually doesn't happen. In fact, it definitely doesn't happen with the mace because it has a total of 6 attack damage. And to check this out, the mace's cooldown speed, I mean, that's pretty slow as well. The mace is a pretty insane weapon where also if you land your hit, you cancel out all fall damage as well. That means using the mace, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of practice for sure. But once you lock it and get the use of this thing just right, I mean, it becomes insanely powerful. The mace has 500 durability and has quite a few enchantments that can go on it, including 3 brand new ones that we're about to talk all about. A lot of these enchantments, however, are mutually exclusive with each other, so like, you can't really have smite and breach on a mace, and you can't have breach and density. Mace enchanting on Minecraft Bedrock is so much more enjoyable. Throw the buddy in an enchanting table and look at all of the enchantments you'll end up getting. Mace enchantment number 1. It has 4 different levels to it. It's called Breach. This is an enchantment that you'll be able to get from the enchanting table. Now, on a normal mob, like let's say a sheep, the Breach enchantment doesn't seem to do anything different, because it doesn't. But if I had a mob with armor, like let's say this fully diamond armored cow, okay, yeah, yep, definitely diamond armor, and I hit it, well, each level of the Breach enchantment will ignore 15% of the armor protection, for a maximum of 60% ignoring. Next up, we've got the density enchantment, which has 5 separate levels. It's sort of like sharpness for a mace. Each level of density increases the amount of damage built up when falling a block by half a point. That means a density 5 mace is pretty strong. Let's see if I can land it the first time. Density 5 mace, about 20 blocks. Iron golem, oh, almost. Not so fast. And now the most fun one. This is a treasure enchantment. You're gonna have to find this from the trial chambers inside the vaults. In a change that was made very late in the 1.21 cycle, each level of windburst makes you jump 7 blocks up into the air when you land your hit. Check this out. I've got a target over there, and I'm 2 blocks up in the air. If I jump off of this block and land that hit, 21 blocks up into the air, oh boy, and it doesn't cancel fall damage, so be careful. That all adds up to, honestly, Windburst 1 just being, like, pretty much good enough and cool already. Maybe pair that with, like, a damage enchant, and you'll be able to one-shot a lot of stuff and to jump around in a cool way, too. All right, next up, let's go ahead and head back over to the museum. Quiet again. And then this time, let's walk into the soundproofed lodge in here. I don't know if you could tell, but it just got good in here. We've got 3 brand new music discs inside of Minecraft 1.21. We'll listen to a little bit of these discs. Of course, if you want to hear the full sounds, jump in game and check them out. First off, we've got Aaron Sherov. It'll have a signal of 13 when hooked up to a jukebox with a comparator. You'll find this rarely inside of normal vaults. It's nice, it's fun, it's action-packed. Next up, we've got Creator by Lena Rain. This is found in the Ominous Vault, and will have a redstone signal of 12. For this one, I feel like I'm walking around in like a haunted maze or something like that. It's pretty sweet. Then, really cool, and probably my favorite one out of all of them, we've got Lena Rain Creator Music Box version. You'll be able to find this inside of those pots with the cool sherds on them inside of the trial chamber very rarely. And that's a signal of 11. Listen. It, like, takes the creepy vibes from the last one and ups them all the way to the max. That one has got to be my favorite, but what is yours? You let me know. Alongside those beautiful, brand new music discs, you also have tons of brand new songs inside of this update as well that are going to play ambiently throughout your entire world. Now, you can check the soundtrack out on streaming right now if you want to, like, listen sound by sound, or you could just explore and game, and hopefully eventually you hear them all. Overall, I would say this update has one of the best soundtracks out of every update. But now let's go back to the trial chambers, because oh boy, how in the world do you find that buried structure? Oh, that's right, you use the map. The trial chamber map, if you're looking for the structure itself, can be purchased from a cartographer villager at the journeyman level and only at the journeyman level. That means, unfortunately, sometimes this map, it won't be sold by the villager, and you'll have to find a new one. I find that more often than not, the trial chamber map, when you buy it, you're like pretty close to it. Using it is pretty straightforward. Look at the map, look at your pointer icon, and go over to that new crazy looking one. Now a brand new advanced mechanic inside of a Minecraft 1.21. We've got a rework of the bad omen effect and essentially how raids work, and alongside that is something called the ominous bottle. Now the ominous bottle is going to have 5 different levels to it. Each level is going to do something a little bit different. Now, there are a couple of ways you could go about getting your hands on the ominous bottle inside of your world. The way number 1, old-fashioned banner head. Check this out. When I take it out, I no longer get the bad omen effect by default. Instead, it drops an ominous bottle with a random level of bad omen. Alternatively, you could win the ominous bottle from the ominous and the plain old normal trial spawner. You can also unlock them inside of the vaults. So inside of a trial chamber structure, let's say I was taking on this challenge right over here with the zombies. If I walk up to it like normal, it's going to spawn a set amount of mobs. I have to take the mobs out to win the trial. Right now, these mobs are going to be like relatively basic mobs. The trial spawner will only spawn so many mobs at a time, and it's meant to only spawn one type of mob. However, I do find that the zombie one can sometimes accidentally spawn baby zombies too. Those mobs are going to be persistent, which means if you pass away while taking on the trial, well, they're still going to be here when you come back. Eventually, after completing that trial, I am given a reward, and this spawner actually goes on a cooldown for 30 minutes. Later on, after 30 minutes, I can come back and take the challenge on again. If I bring people with me to the challenge, like when it's still active, it will actually spawn more mobs and get a little bit more challenging. The reward that you get from the spawner too, it's randomized, so you're not necessarily always going to get a key, like next time I take it out. But now, with that thing completed, it's on cooldown. That was a plain old normal trial. However, on the other hand, if I drink this bottle, an ominous bottle with a bad omen too, I'm going to get a brand new effect and the bottle's going to disappear. That effect is called a bad omen. Okay, so I guess not entirely new, but anyways, if I walk over close enough to the spawner, even if it's on cooldown, boom, it's blue now, and look at that. These mobs are way more dangerous now. The zombies are now actually geared up with enchanted gear sometimes, and like dangerous swords, very, very bad. And while I'm taking on an ominous trial, different effects are going to be dropped on me and the mobs in here too. Hey, come on guys, I need to back up. It's gonna drop effects on you and the mobs, and also, like, as you saw there, like an arrow shot down. It's not good, potentially pretty dangerous. You can see the effects popping in the air too. It's pretty cool, but more often than not, you're gonna be busy taking on the trial. So, buddy, goodbye. Are you the last one? I think so. That was the final ominous mob. Now, you can see, though, this effect is going on still. It's called Trial Omen. For each level of the ominous bottle that you drink, you get 15 minutes of it. So level 1 is 15 minutes, level 2 is 30 minutes, and so on. Ha ha ha! I got a key! Oh, that's beautiful. Like we talked about a little bit earlier on, you would now be able to take these keys and unlock the vaults inside of the structure. Now, while I have this ominous effect, I can slide over to a spawner that I never took on before, and this is going to be a terrible idea. The skeleton ominous trial is dangerous, but you can slide over to a trial that you haven't taken on the normal way and upgrade it instantly to ominous. You don't have to do the other one first. What I find, at least with a skeleton one, maybe one of the best moves you can do is have the skeletons just fight each other, because these bows are usually enchanted, and you get like the other effects dropped on you that we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, it's not exactly like the most enjoyable experience. It's pretty tricky. Now, one thing here is that the ominous trial plays completely different, or the normal one too. They both play completely different on Minecraft, Bedrock, and Java, again, due to the combat differences. A little bit of time later, and oh, wow, look at me. I got the key to, I got a little bit porcupine going on, but a lot of keys too. Now, over here in the craziest savannah biome village that I have ever really seen, we can check out the other thing the ominous bottle does. All right, so let's say I was me and I was wandering the world. Maybe I took out a banner head and I got myself one of these bottles. Maybe I want to take on a raid. If I drink this bottle outside of a village, I will again get the bad omen effect for an hour and 40 minutes. That's actually identical to how it worked before. However, now if I move close enough to a villager, like into a village, that effect converts over instantly into the raid omen. Now I've got 30 seconds to decide. In these 30 seconds, the villagers have no clue what's about to hit them. They don't know, they don't freak out. If I wanted to, I could drink a milk bucket right here like a milk drinker and get rid of the effect. That means I basically just canceled the upcoming raid. On the other hand, I could go ahead and drink the bottle, wait 30 seconds, and begin the raid. The different levels of the bad omen will give you different levels of raid omen. And then from that point on, it's all the same as normal. A raid omen 5 means a longer and tougher raid. A raid omen 1, I mean, that's like your standard old-fashioned raid. Wherever you are when you drink that bottle and activate the raid is going to be the new raid center point. So bells are a little bit less important now. Next up, let's take a look at the 4 brand new potions in this update. So flashback rewind, a second ago when we were taking on the ominous trial, there was like that charge of noise and effects being spat on me. That'll happen every couple of seconds. A lot of the effects that are being spit on me and the other hostile mobs are these new ones that we're going to talk about, that you can turn into potions. So first up, we've got the potion of wind charging, or the wind charging effect in general. If you want to brew this one up inside of a brewing stand with awkward potions already queued up, I'm going to throw a breeze rod. I keep doing that. I'm going to throw a breeze rod inside of this thing and let it brew. Now, the wind charging effect, that's kind of fun. If we go ahead and splash this cow with wind charging, when it walks around, you can see it kind of has, like, wind particles popping out of it, and I got some, too, so, yeah, I just have, like, wind popping out. It's kind of cool. When you take the mob out, like, it goes away. It farts. Next up, we've got the potion of oozing. To brew yourself up a potion of oozing inside of the brewing stand with awkward potions, we put a slime block, a full solid one. Kind of shocking, it's not a slime ball for this one, to get the potion. Now, the potion of oozing, this is another interesting one, and it's a fun one too. The effect is going to happen every single time a mob passes away. So with this mob, with oozing, it kind of has that whole, like, slime effect thing going on. When I take out that cow, 2 medium-sized slime will be spawned every single time. Now, a slime. What if I had a slime with the potion of oozing? If I take a slime out that has oozing, well, it can't have oozing. Slime, it doesn't work for that. The slime that are spawned are plain old normal slime, other than the fact that they're always medium, which means decent source of slime ball. The weaving effect. Oh, this one is a fun one. I like this one. To make the weaving a potion, you will, in a brewing stand, again, awkward potions first, put a cobweb. Let it brew up. For the weaving effect, if I have a mob with weaving, check that out. It get like almost like a little bit of like cobweb particles or whatever. When I take this weaving boy out, aha, right where it passes away, you get cobwebs. And these cobwebs, if I myself had weaving as well, I actually move quicker through cobwebs as well. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So far, out of the 3 potions we've taken a look at, that actually provides a decent use for weaving potion in survival in your world. But I was just looking at infestation, so let's talk about that one. I hate it. Inside of a brewing stand in survival Minecraft, infested stone with awkward potion, you would put it right up top. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be working for me though, but yeah, infested stone. Now, the potion of infestation is the only potion out of those ones that works differently. This one isn't about what happens when you take a mob out. Instead, it's about what happens when a mob takes some damage. So this mob with infestation has tiny little particle effect. When this mob takes damage every single time, it has a 5% chance to spawn 1, 2, 3 silverfish wherever it is. Now, 5% chance is not very much. However, this is by far the most dangerous to deal with effect inside of the trial chamber. Like, imagining yourself trying to deal with, like, baby zombies and then boom, all of a sudden, surprise silverfish as well? Yeah, no thank you. Every single one of those brand new effects and potions comes in the normal potion variant, the splash potion variant, and a lingering variant as well. And for a fan of tipped arrows, there's one of you out there, I'm sure. Maybe you want to make tipped arrows with these new potions? Well, yeah, you could absolutely do that as well, too. Whew, let's take a breather. How you doing? This is the longest update video that I've made in a long time. Almost as long as the Nether update one, I think. But, yeah, we're almost done. Next up, we have 4 brand new cave sounds. Let's listen. Speaking of sounds, the piston sound has been made quieter in this update. Not different, but quieter. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, it's been quieted down a little bit. We've got a skulk sensor update inside of this update, frost detection. Here I've got my good old pair of Frosty Walker. With these boots on, I walk and make the frosted ice, and the skulk sensor would hear it. If I had a comparator hooked up to this buddy, it would give me a signal strength of 13. Mob panicking has been adjusted. Instead of panicking for 4 seconds, the mobs will panic for 2 seconds now. Much shorter. Like, I don't know. You can notice that right there. It calms down really quick. Oh, I hate to do it to you, Bedrock gang, but this is a Java exclusive update. I think that last one was as well, too, but witches. They got a huge buff inside of Minecraft 1.21. When I take a witch out, every single time, it will drop 4 to 8 redstone dust. And those amounts, yeah, those are totally affected by looting. You can increase the amount of witch drops like insane. I don't know about you, but I love me when the devs actually take a farm, like a witch farm, and buff it instead of nerf it. Now, you know me, I usually make these update videos for updates, say, like 1.20.5. And speaking of 1.20.5, there was a gigantic spawn chunk change in that update that I completely missed. This one is pretty significant too if you haven't been playing the game for a while, maybe you're coming back to it, and you like to use the spawn chunks for farms. By default, the spawn chunk area has been decreased by a lot. Right here inside of your world settings, spawn chunk radius, by default, when you make a new world, is going to be 2. I think it used to be something like 10 or something. So keep that in mind. Whew, oh boy, technical changes. Oh man, take a seat because we would be scrolling on these things, or we will be, for days and days and days. Minecraft 1.21 brings a whole lot of new things, like trial chambers is really cool and everything, but so many technical changes as well. A lot of these technical changes are making it easier to add things in the future. That makes me wonder if we're about to enter a new golden era of Minecraft updates with like more updates coming out quickly again. I would love to see it. Some of the technical stuff in here that we're looking at is like data-driven enchantments, attributes, and stuff like that. Yeah, new tags. There's just so much technical business going on inside of this update. And I understand all of it, of course. Moving on. Beautiful change right here, right near the end of the list today. Lead boats, a parity change. Alrighty, so this one is beautiful. We have a Minecraft boat. We place it down. We put a lead on that boat, and yeah, the lead actually goes on the boat. All you need to do is walk around, and you can pull it. What if I had, say, 2 boats, and I wanted to walk around and pull it? Well, no big deal. You can attach multiple leads to multiple boats and move multiple boats at the same time. This is huge for moving things in boats across land because look at how much quicker that moves instead of like sailing it. I mean, you're still gonna have a problem with going uphill, but whatever. Now, a huge reason this is so good is villagers. Maybe you want to move villagers around in your world easier than ever before. Well, a lead boat. Look at how easy that is. I can just drag this guy off into the sunset. Goodbye. Like, oh, it's so great. And to pull it off, again, all you need to do is use a lead on a boat, and it just works. Ooh, now speaking of entities and boats, keep that in mind for a second. Next up, let's take a look at some really amazing portal changes that have gone down in this update. So first things first, we make a portal, and just like normal, we're gonna go through the portal and load it on the other side. However, if I didn't go into it first, other entities can do this now. Let's say I had that villager and I wanted to push it through the portal and I didn't go through the nether. Well, no big deal. It theoretically could work. Now back over in the overworld, the brand new one right here, Ender Pearl. We throw this into the portal, and yes, sure enough, the Ender Portal the Ender Pearl goes into the portal. We could go ahead and do that both ways. Excuse me. All right, well, it's a little broken sometimes. Ender Pearls work with portals. This isn't just the Nether Portal too, it's the End Portal as well. And entities, rideable entities work with portals as well. Maybe we had a minecart and we want to send it through the portal. Yeah, no big deal. We could do that. If we were riding it, it would work as well. Maybe an entity with 2 entities in it. So like a boat with me and a villager. Well, we could do the same thing. We could sail that boat and the villager right through the portal, clean and easy. You could also pair the lead boat to change that we were just talking about with the Nether Portal stuff going on. And actually, yeah, you could drag a villager. Come on. I think I did it. You could drag a villager or anything inside of a boat with the lead, like right into the overworld. When you do that, the lead will be dropped right on the ground. Bug fixes are always a huge component of any Minecraft update, and when it comes to bug fixes, we've got quite a few inside of 1.21. In fact, approximately 220 bug fixes inside of this update. That's crazy. 250 bug fixes is a whole lot. A lot of these bugs have to do with new 1.21 stuff, but some of the stuff has to do with older stuff as well. The oldest bug that was fixed in this update has to do with the whole portal passenger thing that we were just talking about. It is bug number 67 and was reported on October 24th, 2012. And you actually have a couple of bugs reported from 2012 that are in here and fixed as well. Another one coming from October 27th, 2012. Last but not least, we have advancements. Inside of a Minecraft 1.21, we've got quite a few. To get our first 1.21 advancement, all you're gonna need to do is locate a trial chamber structure and move into it. While you're here inside of the structure, take your time, find a key, and unlock a vault to get the under lock and key advancement. While you're here, maybe take even more time inside of the structure. That's some crazy generation. Find an ominous key, unlock an ominous vault to get revaulting. Maybe inside of the trial chamber, you got lucky and found yourself a wind charge. Use a wind charge to jump 8 blocks or more to get Who Needs Rockets. This one's a little tricky to do, but to get blowback, you need to take out a breeze with a wind burst that you sent back at the breeze. My big tip here is patience, persistence, and practice. Probably inside of a chamber, use an axe to scrape a copper bulb to get the lighten up advancement. Using the mace in a single hit, deal 50 or more damage to get overkill. And finally, this last one, I mean, if you can automate it, that is crazy, like, good for you, but you need to be near a crafter when it crafts a crafter. To pull it off, just set up the recipe inside of it, put a lever on front of it, and craft a crafter to get crafters. I can't believe it. How did I do it? Back over on the main menu, the true spot that the update actually begins. So that brand new menu panorama, check this thing out. Now, when you see it in game, it's going to rotate a little bit slower. I went ahead and sped it up for you. But yeah, it's basically a shot inside of an atrium room of a trial chamber. You get the angry breeze on one wall, you get a shot of the chamber, and kind of just like basically what you're about to dive into. Wow, and so at this point I had to go and check it. This video is officially my longest update video ever. This video actually ended up being even longer than the 1.17 Caves and Cliffs Part 1 update video, and that one was huge. If you haven't yet, I would love to hear what thing that we talked about today is your favorite down in the comments below. And if you'd like to get up close and personal with this update, remember, there's a world download out now. Tapping that join button or at the least tapping like and subscribe helps me continue to get to make videos like this one for you. This one was a lot of effort. So in total, everything in 1.21, this chest, boom. This next chest, boom. And then one more chest right there. Wow, there is so much new thing. There are so many new things inside of this update. And this isn't even including waxed and non-waxed versions too, and all of those copper bulbs. Wow. Anyway, if you made it to this point in the video, I'd like to sincerely thank you so much for picking me to join you on the deep dive into Minecraft 1.21. I'd like to also send a huge thank you to Wise Hosting for sponsoring today's video. Remember to check out my link down in the description and use my code for the clean discount. Keep your eyes out on the channel because over the next coming days, weeks, months, I have so much more cool content planned that I'm cooking up for you, actually, beginning right now, the second you're watching this video. It's been me, Waddles, 1.21, forever. Goodbye, everyone.